Willie D Live.
You grew up in Sumpter,
South
Carolina.
That's right. That's
Man,
right.
Now, how does a young man from Sumpter, South Carolina, born of a educator and funeral home director,
Yeah.
navigate his way through Sumpter, little Sumpter, South Carolina, to the world stage? Like, how do you make that transition?
Man, listen, I used to be, first of all, everybody in my family know how to talk shit. Like some of my family, some of the funniest people in the world. They all funny to me, you know what I mean? But nobody ever, like my father didn't try to push me to be in the funeral business. He said, look, I can't teach you anything that I don't know. This is what I know, so this is what I'm going to teach you. You know what I mean? And thank God that he did that. But I always had that desire to do something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but, you know, it just, by the time I got to about 18, I was like, man, I'm going to be a comedian. And I didn't even say that out loud. I was just like, I want to be a comedian. And how I actually ended up getting into it, I was at a music store. I was working at a music store part-time, and the guy came in promoting the show. And I kept bothering him about, you know, what about comedy and how does this work? How does that work? He was just like, man, you a comedian or something? And before I could say no, the girl I was working with said yes. Because she kept telling me that I needed
always cracking jokes.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, like he need to, you know, because she wanted me to do it. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll think about it. He was like, all right, well, here's my number. He wrote his number down on the flyer, gave me the flyer, and was like, you know, if you decide whether you want to do it or not, let me know. So I called him, told him I wanted to do it. I was nervous as hell. I ain't writing no jokes. I ain't had no jokes. Wasn't prepared at all. But as soon as I got off the phone, I was so nervous. I just started writing, and it was, you know, 3 minutes can seem like a lifetime if you're doing bad. You know what I mean? But I got up there. I did pretty good, and I was just off. It was off to the races. Now it's 20 years later.
Do you know that I recently discovered that it was 20 years later? I recently discovered that because I thought that you started on the internet.
Nah.
Because that's why I found you. I was about to say discovered, but I didn't even discover you. My sister discovered you.
Yeah.
And she told me about you, and I started checking you out.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude is hilarious. And then you have that catchphrase of yours.
Anybody want to
tell me?
Yeah.
When did you know that would be a thing for you? Like, did you say that one time and then somebody said, that was dope, man, how you said that, and you said, you know what, I'm gonna keep that, and I'm gonna make that my hook?
No, like when I first started doing the videos, for some reason, I just kept saying it. I don't even, like, I would always start off with just, oh, ladies and gentlemen, anybody want to tell me? And it's just because I'm reacting to these pictures and videos and stuff. So I would just keep saying it, and I couldn't stop myself from saying it. But I didn't even know I was saying it. Right. And people started messaging me and say, man, bruh, that right there need to be your hook, man. And then the crazy thing about it is, I was trying to find something to say, but I kept saying that all the time. Yeah. So everybody was like, yo, that's the next thing you know, I trademarked it, started printing it on shirts and everything, man. I was like, well, this is it. You know what I mean?
It.
Yeah, that's it.
I always say that comedians who don't have to talk, they don't have to tell a joke and people start laughing are some of the best, because that's really a cheat code. That's really an unfair advantage that you have when you can make a face and people just start laughing. You know, like Corey Holcomb is one of those dudes that have that. You know, Corey can make a face and you just bust out laughing. That's a fucking advantage, man. Yeah, that's a big ass advantage.
It is, but it's also a skill. See, a lot of people be like, oh, he ain't saying nothing, that ain't comedy. No, it's called physical comedy. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and watch Martin, a lot of times there'll be certain scenes where Martin ain't saying nothing, but the crowd is dying laughing because he's being
got that too.
Physical. Yeah. You understand? So, and it's also about timing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times if and I'm giving away a little secret. A lot of times, if you doing physical comedy, sometimes I'm counting in my head and knowing that I only need to do this for 3 seconds, or I should wait 5 seconds before I look away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I mean? Because it's just comedy is about timing, it's about rhythm. So it looks like you're doing it effortlessly, but it's actually a method to the madness. It's something that you're doing. But see, that's what you learn throughout your 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
See, and I was hesitant to check you out. Stand up, like
most people. Yeah.
I was hesitant because I was like, it's an internet dude, hey, no offense, y'all, but like
you can say
internet guys are just not as strong as guys who come up in the trenches.
Yeah,
real stand up dudes who start off stand up.
Yeah,
it ain't nothing like that. Those dudes, that's a rite of passage. You know,
absolutely.
Then it's a lot different than just uploading something. Saying something in the privacy of your home, uploading it, and you don't get to have to stand there and be judged and hear what the crowd has to say in real time.
In real time.
And
live.
Watch their expressions. Like sometimes the crowd ain't got to say nothing, and that's even scarier than when they say something.
Like there is no
because
reaction.
They're like, damn, what the fuck?
You tell a joke, you can hear a motherfucker folding a napkin. Nigga, you gonna fold this napkin right now? Like,
man, when I found out you did you was a real stand-up comic dude, that's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, and when I saw you perform, I was like, yeah. That shit makes sense now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. Because I was like, his timing is too good. Because I ain't never seen a guy transition from the internet to stage and be that flawless. Be that good. Be able to work the crowd, work the jokes, work the crowd. Hear a distraction. Work the distraction. That's a skill that comes with years of doing this thing.
Yeah. Well, now it's time for some real talk. I probably was one of the, last few guys. I can't say last few because it's been more since me, but when I came out, like the internet sensation thing, people had gotten used to it. It started getting kind of old. You know what I mean? In the beginning, when you had certain people that first came out, and I can't speak firsthand on everybody, but a lot of people who came out when there was really people going viral at first, and it was a new thing. A lot of people, the comedy clubs just grabbed them up. These promoters started putting them in comedy clubs, and they didn't give a damn whether they was actually comedians or not. And when you hear older comedians have a beef or a riff with these social media people, that was the beef. Like that was like these dudes, they can sell tickets, but they're not delivering the jokes. So once people start getting used to it, and then I started going viral, I had to more or less prove myself because people would come out to see me, but after the show, I promise you, after the show, people would come up to me and say, man, you funnier than I thought you was gonna be. And it would be dudes, they'd be standing there with their lady and they'd be like, bruh, I promise you, I'm only here because she wanted to see you. I ain't think you was gonna be funny. They'd be like, I went to see this one, I went to see that one, I went to see that one, and ain't none of them motherfuckers funny. And I wanted to beat their ass after the show, but you funny for real, man. I'd be like, bruh, thank you, man. Like, because they didn't know that I had been doing it 15, 16 years prior to, you know what I mean, me actually coming out there. So, and I always tell people, like for me, when I first started doing comedy, Facebook wasn't even the type of platform that you like. Facebook, Instagram didn't exist.
And what year is this? You started?
I started in 04. 2000? I started in April of 04.
Okay. You
know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, so I'm still friends with the people
Desi.
who are.
But are you and Desi cool?
Yeah, me and Desi been cool.
Yeah. But how long? But Desi one of the newer cats. How long you been knowing Desi?
I've been knowing Desi probably maybe 10 years.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 10 years, something like that. See, me and Desi we used to take the same acting class. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dwayne Boyd, Premier Acting Network, down in Atlanta, Georgia. We used to take the same acting class, and I wanted to get into the social media. And Desi had already had 250,000 followers at that time. And he wanted to get into stand-up. So we would always talk about that. And me and Desi, we just hang out and, you know what I mean, be real cool. We shot a couple of skits together, but yeah, that's my dude, man. That's my brother, man. I got a lot of love for him, man. I met his mama, stepdaddy, and all of them, man. And, you know, we done been around each other, so, you know, we still got that same relationship. And I'm proud of, you know, everything that he's done, man, because he really was passionate about it. And I used to tell him, bro, you naturally funny. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's going to click. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That reminds me, Desi is one of those dudes too,
Yeah.
who can make that face.
Yeah,
And you just start laughing.
Yeah, man. That's why I would tell him all the time. I'd be like, "Bruh, you naturally funny, man."
Yeah.
But you know, you know, there was always a riff, and I used to tell guys, I used to be like, "Man, look, this comedy thing, you know, it's not about like you're touring and you're doing these shows now. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't about if you can come; it's about if you can come back." You understand what I'm saying? It's one thing if somebody make one round, but when you come back around and them tickets don't sell like that, that means something wrong. There's a disconnect because there's a lot of people who was touring before, they ain't touring now, and they not able to get that same money that, you know what I mean, that they used to get because everybody knows you're underdeveloped. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you just ain't funny, but nah, you underdeveloped. Like, you can't sell an unfinished product. A lot of these guys, the promoters was scamming the public. Like, you knew this guy wasn't good, but you put him out here because you knew he could sell tickets because he was popping. But he wasn't going to give the people what they paid for. And now the people are like, oh, now the internet dudes kind of got their name a little dirty. Like that internet sensation, that's a little dusty now. Because just like you said, like, well, I saw him on the internet, so I don't know if he really funny like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I had to literally, when I was touring, I was selling tickets and I still do, but my thing is I had to make sure that people understood, like, oh no, he funny. Like, this is a polished comedian that y'all coming to see. Like, and you know, I don't like, you can't really tell online. Social media real still ain't my thing. But when you come to see me live, I make sure I tear the paint off the wall to make sure, because a lot of the people who come to my shows have seen me before. You know what I mean? Because it ain't about if you can come, it's about if you can come back. And I'm cool with slowly building, you know, my empire or slowly building my art. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Because you got a guy he can get hot and he just be hot for 2-3 years. And people just like, all right, well, we all have seen him. You know what I mean? But if you got somebody who just can build, it's like comparing a hamburger to Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's going to take a little longer. You understand what I'm saying? But we going to eat a while off of this. Right. You know what I'm saying?